Hey everyone, it's your host Marcus Norman of Gentleman Style Podcast Show. And today we have an incredible guest. She is holding all of us accountable, y'all. She's in the building here. I have the incredible honor and pleasure of interviewing this superstar woman. She's changing the absolute game. I have coming to the stage Miss Renee Hastings, and she's the president and CEO of Executive Help Now, a virtual assistant service agency that is changing the face of virtual assistants and taking our business, your business, my business, everyone's business to the next level. In a changing economy where the cost of living and all the expenses are going up, high tariffs, we're not going to get political right now, but the cost of everything is going up. And here, her company is here helping you still allow your business, our business, to 10x and grow with the help of a virtual assistant. And her agency is front and center of this agency, changing the world and helping you add that needed executive assistant, adding that needed virtual assistant, adding that team member, that player, that ace in the hole to your team member without breaking the bank. So help me welcome to the stage. I can't hold this incredible woman back any further. Miss Renee Hastings.
Hello, how are you?
How are you, ma'am? You look incredible. You're a rock star, and you're absolutely, what you and your company are doing is absolutely necessary. And so I wanted to take the time. I wanted to say, first off, thank you for saying yes. I thought she was going to say no, y'all. When I invited her on, I thought she was going to say no. I'm so honored to have you. Thank you for sharing space with us today, Miss Hastings.
Thank you so much for having me on the show. You are quite the gentleman, and I am so grateful for the invitation and super stoked about speaking with your audience today about how they can 10x and level up their business with the assistance of a virtual assistant.
Absolutely, absolutely. I want to start with a curveball question, a warm-up question, as I like to put it. You have an incredible mind, and you're now leading the charge in your company. But you have an incredible mind, and you could do anything you set your mind to. What was it that particularly attracted you to the niche of starting a virtual assistant agency and helping many businesses take their corporation to the next level? You could do anything. Why this industry? What was it?
So what it was my absolute desire to help people. So all my whole life, and I may share a part of my journey from childhood where my grandfather, who was a sharecropper, taught us the value of a very strong work ethic and being a person of your word and working hard and making sure that you did what you said you were going to do, and you under promised and over delivered. So from infancy, practically, those were the values that were instilled in me. And so once I was exposed to what it was like to work in an office, which was at a very young age, because my mom put me in a summer youth employment program to keep teenagers off the streets. And they exposed us to different opportunities to explore our natural gifts, skills, and talents. And so I discovered that I loved organizing things. I loved answering the phone. I loved typing. I loved taking notes in meetings and all of those things that I did before I was even a teenager. And it was from then that I decided one day I'm going to run an office or I'm going to own my own business, because I saw another Black woman franchise owner operator of a Norrail temporary services agency. And it was because of her success and the example that she set for me that let me know this is something that's very doable. I could be this person as well. So I continued to hone my skills and got the greatest advice from someone who said, if you're going to start a business, do what you know. So that's exactly what I did. I started a business doing what I knew how to do, working my way up through corporate America to supporting the C-suite for about 20 years before I started this business 10 years ago.
Did I forget to mention a true heart of gold? But I'm going to backtrack here. That was profound. And I love that you're so giving and so nurturing, and you share that wisdom and the expertise. I want to go back a sidestep, even so, to your family. What is it about your family background and experiencing family members who are sharecroppers? How did that pour into you? How did that seep into you as far as at your core, right? Because
Yes.
sometimes when we see our family members doing certain things, when I think of sharecropping, I think of hard work, I think of manual labor, I think of my grandpa owned goats. I don't own goats, right? And so sometimes when you look at your family dynamic, sometimes it says, I want to stay away from that. What is it about sharecropping and seeing that in your family pushed you to newer heights? What motivated you there?
Well, one of the things that I did not mention was the fact that my grandfather was from the South, and he moved his entire family of 9 children from the South to an Amish community in Wisconsin. And as you can imagine, there were not many in that community who looked like us. As a matter of fact, if you saw somebody who looked like us, they were family for about 50 miles around us. So not only were we the only in the community, it was because of that that we had to make sure as a family that we represented the family well, and that because people, number one, knew us.
Mm,
Everybody knew us.
mhm,
And so we had to represent well in everything. And so people knew they could trust our word because we were people of our word. We were honest. Our grandfather made sure that we made honest deals. And in that community where we lived, you could still today make a deal with a handshake because nobody lies.
mm.
Anyways, that's another story for another day. But it was a very small, tight knit community. Like I said, an Amish community that knew us very well. And so it was because of that foundational training that we received that hard work just became a part of who we were as at our foundation. And it just continued to grow over the years that no matter what I'm doing, I know my family name is on it. So it's got to be excellent.
Mm. Y'all see that? Y'all see the big brain, right? Y'all see that? And what you reminded me of is I think what you're saying and what I'm hearing is we need to bring that back. There,
Mm, yeah.
trust, right?
Mhm.
Family name, family dynasty, family name. What does a family name mean to you? If I tell you I'm going to do something, I do it. Mark my words. And I
Yes.
think that's not said enough in business. And you're bringing it up and so profoundly. You are aligned with, I think, something that needs to continue to be perpetuated and continue to be pushed back. If I tell you I'm going to do something, business wise or personal, it means something. My name means something. Your father, your mother, your family name means something. I know I can trust the Hastings. They put their stamp on it. That's why I have a hard time with referrals. I have a very difficult time with referrals because if that deal goes sideways, yes, the friend, the relationship, associate, affiliate, whoever is going to be pissed at the individual company that I referred or the person, but they're going
Mhm.
to look at me. And now
Yeah,
my name is tarnished along with that.
that's
So
right.
that is huge, huge, huge. And
Yeah.
thank you for sharing that. That's significant. Oh my gosh.
Yes, absolutely, 100%, and I take that so seriously, especially the our company was built on word of mouth referrals because our clients knew us, they knew our values, they knew what we stood for, they knew our standard of excellence, and they knew that they could confidently refer us to their friends and feel good about it and know that we were going to provide their friends with the same level of service as they had been getting. So for like the first, I don't know, 6 years of this business, I never even had to do any marketing or outreach or promoting or anything like that because our clients just kept telling their friends. And so when I did finally start to step out and do, outreach and promoting the business, and now we're developing a sales team and all of that. This is all brand new territory for me, and but I'm loving it. It's super fun and it's exciting, and it's stretching me beyond what I thought I could even do. But it's because of that upbringing, that hard work ethic that I was born with, that I have that intestinal fortitude to forge new land, new territory, new ground, and be brave and just do it scared. And
Absolutely.
so that's kind of what we're doing right now.
I need that. I She's talking to me, y'all. She's talking to me. I needed to hear this. That is super, super powerful. And so we are in today in a new political climate. And I'm not going political, but I want to just preface my next question with it. How do you address concerns about virtual assistants replacing the traditional, hardworking, in your face, boots on the ground administrative roles? How do you address those beliefs or ideologies that people feel? We live in a culture right now where people are like, no, keep it here, you're replacing me, I need the jobs, don't give it to a virtual assistant, I'm capable of doing an Excel spreadsheet, a Microsoft Adobe Pro spreadsheet. How do you address those concerns, if any?
Wow, that's a great question, because it is a situation that many companies are facing. They are finding that resources are having to be stretched, and that more and more people are being required to do more and more for less money. Like when I was an executive assistant in corporate America, I supported five vice presidents and a CFO.
Ooh, ooh.
Because they didn't have the money for each person to have their own person. So I know what that is. I know what it's like to have all of these demands being placed on you in the office. And it's only gotten worse since then, where now companies are actually cutting jobs and they're cutting departments, but the work still has to get done. And so one of the gaps that we fill actually is the fact that when a company hires a company like ours, hires executive help now, they get that same high level executive assistant without all of the fringe that costs so much more than the actual salary of that person. So it's a cost savings measure for them without sacrificing the quality of work that they're able to get. And they're probably able to get even more because the work, a lot of times when people are working full time, they clock in at 8, they leave at 4. But how many of those actual hours are productive hours? How many are spent at the bubbler? How many spent at somebody's desk,
Mhm.
hanging out, eating their candy on their desk? You know what I mean? They're just making small talk. There's a lot of unproductive time spent actually in the office because of all the distractions. When people can work from home and they are able to focus, they have their dedicated space, they are head down, you know, grinding,
Yes.
on
Yes.
a regular, because they enjoy being able to work from home and they don't want that taken away from them, because it helps them with their own personal work-life balance and with their own self-care. I equate hiring a virtual assistant to self-care, but then also when you have your team able to work from home, it's it contributing to their self-care as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let me regurgitate what I'm hearing. And you and I are of the same minds when it comes to this. I have said that as the job market changes, people sometimes lack the ability to change with it. And
Mm,
so, as I'll use the biggest example, the common example that I always use, logistics, the trucking industry. Truckers are terrified to death about losing their jobs through automation and through
mm,
virtual platforms. And
mm.
their fear is my job is going away. No, your job is changing. And
Right.
so the administrative assistant who's used to coming into the office can now should go recertify, get some additional certifications, get some more credentials, and then now work virtually. And
Yeah.
we are failing to adapt to that. There are people of certain minds
Mhm.
that are failing to transition and make that transition. And so guess what? In the logistics industry, just because you're used to being in the vehicle does not mean your job is being replaced. Your job is changing and you need to change with it. Just because that vehicle is autonomous does not mean it doesn't need a pilot. It now needs a pilot. It doesn't need a driver. It needs
Right.
a pilot. And now you can drive that vehicle and monitor that vehicle and keep the safety of that vehicle from home. So the same thing with virtual assistants. Your
That's right.
job is changing. You need to change with it. And
100.
and be of that mindset and open-minded enough to say, "Hey, I actually like working from home." Like you said, I'm more productive. I'm more focused. I can do more things. I'm saving gas. I'm not worried about gas. I'm not worried about mileage. I'm not worried about vehicle maintenance. I'm not worried about I'm not feeling well. And but I still have to commute the 30, 45 minutes on average to the office space. The
Right.
job market is changing. Change with it. And we also experience what I also heard from you is that it changes the customer service dynamic, right?
Mhm.
I am sick and tired of talking to someone on the phone who's agitated and hates their job. Well,
Mm.
if you're working from home, if you're a virtual assistant, you're refreshed, you're energized, you got that extra 10 minutes of sleep because you were able to roll out of bed a little bit later and you didn't have to beat traffic on the way there. You didn't have to drop the kids off. And that's what I'm hearing. Correct me if I'm wrong, Miss Hastings, but I think we are of the same minds when it comes to this evolution and the benefits of a virtual assistant.
Yes, we are absolutely 100% of the same mind, eye to eye, right here. We are definitely speaking the same language. Things are changing, and especially now with AI in the virtual assistant space, even. People in the virtual assistant space are thinking, oh, well, my job is being taken over by artificial intelligence. Well, no, like you said, it's just changing and it's not going anywhere. So we can't be afraid of it. We can't put our head in the sand and act like it's not there because it is and, and it's here to stay. So we need to embrace it and figure out how to leverage it so we can be more productive and fill more gaps that are being created in this economy.
Love it. Love it. Love it. This is a Gentleman Style Podcast Show. This is Miss Renee Hastings spilling the tea on the Gentleman Style Podcast Show and pulling back the layers behind why you, me, and I need to hire a virtual assistant. You can catch us on iHeartRadio, Apple, iTunes, Spotify, Ghana, Facebook business page, LinkedIn, even Audible. Wherever you get your podcast, we are there. And Miss Hastings is going to be there. She's here spilling the tea. So you mentioned something that my wallet jumped when you said it. The cost. There's a cost savings to a virtual assistant. Are there any other pros and benefits to a company incorporating a virtual assistant? That's question number one. And then what kinds of businesses can it incorporate a virtual assistant, or should incorporate a virtual assistant instead of, you know, Joe Blow answering the phone or working on that spreadsheet or setting up those appointments? What businesses are good for virtual assistants, and what are some other pros besides cost?
So I love this question because pretty much if you are a business owner or you run a department or you run a company, you need a virtual assistant.
Mm.
There is no boundary, there is no parameter, there's no restriction on who can have a virtual assistant. We actually have a freebie that we like to share called How Do I Know When I'm Ready for a Virtual Assistant? Because there's so many things that your virtual assistant can do for you to lighten your load so that you're not overwhelmed. One of the benefits of hiring a virtual assistant is to have someone that you trust that you can delegate things to. And that's one of the things that most people struggle with is trust. We've been doing this a while and we know what that's like.
Mm.
And so we help our clients get through that. A lot of times it's some personal work that they need to do within themselves because things get exposed when you get this opportunity to now share a part of yourself with somebody else. But once they work through that by delegating one small thing, just taking one small thing off of their plate. And when someone consistently does great work, then trust gets built little bit, little block by little block. And you keep on adding little blocks of things for them to do to earn your trust, earn their trust. And once that trust continues to grow, you quickly begin to realize how capable your person is and how your person is for you. They want you to be successful. They want you to be rested. They want you to be clear headed and able to think about the future instead of constantly putting out fires. And so when you realize the partner that you have in a virtual assistant, it's much easier to delegate more things more frequently with larger um,
tasks.
more tasks. Yes, thank you. And so there are so first of all, any company can hire a virtual assistant, and even colleges and universities can hire virtual assistants. And I actually wrote a white paper on this, on the value of virtual assistants in higher ed, because we know what's happening in higher ed and all the cuts that are happening there. But the students are impacted in a very negative way when the faculty and staff are strained with administrative work. If the faculty and staff didn't spend so much time doing all the things that they need to do with the paperwork, they could focus more attention on the students and their well-being, and they would have a greater success rate and have a higher student satisfaction rate. So it's a really imperative that people start to think differently about virtual support, and not only the cost savings that it can have for them, but the well-being for their team members and for their constituents and the people that they serve.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I want to push back a little bit. I want to ask the question. So you're saying your virtual assistants through your agency, I can actually trust with my business card to make purchases on my behalf? Is that what is that what I heard? Trust, right? The big word, the big T.
Yes. 100%. We have systems in place that help you with that trust factor. We've got parameters, thresholds, parameters, two-factor authentications, confidentiality agreements, NDAs, all kinds of, cybersecurity things. All the things are in place to make sure that you not only know what is happening, but you are kept abreast, but you're not having to be the one actually inputting all the numbers. Someone else can input the numbers. You can go and check them, make sure that they're right, that they meet your standards, and that they are all the boxes are being completed in the way that they're supposed to be. But because you always want to check, trust but verify.
Absolutely.
So I'm always an advocate of that. But eventually, when your person keeps doing that over and over again, you're going to be like, here are my receipts, put them in, and make sure the accountant gets them at the end of the quarter.
Absolutely. And you see how that comes full circle, guys? You see how that aligns with the brand, with the name, the trust that we mentioned that Ms. Hastings brought up earlier, right? I can trust this name. If I tell you I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. And so all of that aligns. Huge, huge, huge. Big, big, big. I can trust. I'm gonna be selfish right now because it's my show. I'm gonna ask a question. I highly dislike, and there's nothing against. It's not race. It's not anything. But there's a language barrier when calling, and I know it's a virtual assistant because there's that language barrier. And it's like, thank you very much. Is there a way to screen so that I'm gonna be honest? I think there's a statistic. I gotta find it. There's a statistic out there that I think like 20% of Americans instantly get aggravated as soon as that virtual assistant answers the phone and there's that language barrier. And so I think businesses want to be able to hire someone who not discriminate, but is more fluent in my local dialect, more fluent in my local language. Do you have anything like that where I can have a virtual assistant who is more affluent and more fluent in my local dialect?
Yes, the answer to that question is yes, and I'm laughing because I know what you mean. I've been there, and I can relate very, very well. Our virtual assistants are primarily US based. So I know that there are some companies out there that are 100% offshore based, or, have a few US based people on their team or whatever. At Executive Help now, most of our team members are US based. And so they are familiar with American business, US business, and all of the different nuances that go along with running a business in America. Oh my gosh, you are
We
cracking me up.
we are we are happy. We needed that. You are the guru, the grand poobah of virtual assistants. You and your company. I really appreciate you because I'll be honest. I know friends who have tried, and
Mhm,
I don't think my business has gravitated to the point of requiring a virtual assistant yet.
mm,
But it's getting there.
mhm,
um, and so, but I've heard from friends who already have hired virtual assistants from the Philippines, from this part of the world, that part of the world, and their constant number one frustration is, Marcus, I can't get past the language barrier. I'm losing not a large percentage of customers, but I'm losing customers because as soon as they pick up the phone and they hear it, the language barrier, they hang up. They don't want
mhm.
anything to do with this practice. They don't want anything to do with this business. And so, thank you for addressing it at the forefront of business concerns. I know that's a huge, huge business concern. One more round of applause for Ms. Hastings there.
Yes, 100%. And the thing is, everyone has their own special gifts, skills, and talents. And you, as a business owner, know what your client is looking for. So if you know that your client has to call you and somebody has to answer the phone, don't have somebody answer the phone that doesn't sound like them.
Mm,
Just just don't. Don't go that route. Have them do something else. Have them do other things that they're gifted and skilled in, but not answer your phone.
absolutely. Absolutely. So true. So true.
Yeah.
I want to ask, are there any other technologies? We are in the information age. Well, we've been in the information age, but we are in now the phase of artificial intelligence, right?
Mhm.
AI. Do you incorporate or how do you utilize AI and automation to influence the virtual assistant industry?
Well, I am very grateful for AI
Really?
because what used to take us hours now takes us minutes. And those hours convert into higher productivity for us. And if we can produce more for you in less time, that makes us a greater value and asset to you. So, as a business owner, and some of us are older business owners who really don't want to learn AI, so you don't have to when you hire a virtual assistant who already has the skills to utilize it well in the systems that they're operating for you. So that in itself should be a relief to most business owners because AI can be intimidating. It can be scary. It can be really daunting to business owners, but they have to get acclimated to it or at least be okay with the people on their team using it. They don't have to know all of the different platforms or all of the different, because every day it seems like there's 10 new AI driven things. But they don't have to be the one to figure out how to use them all. Just surround themselves with team members, a team of virtual assistants who are already AI savvy to be able to do those things that they need to have done in a very quick and efficient way.
Big facts. Hashtags mic drop. Hashtag. If I could give her another microphone, not the one she's using, if I could give her another microphone to drop, she would drop it. Y'all, that made all the tech entrepreneurs that watch the show, that made their heart throb, right? Because I think some people try and bash. And I know there's like speculation, especially with the industry that my newest business venture is in. People are very highly against the use
Mm,
of AI,
mm,
because my industry requires a personal touch.
mhm,
And I don't know if I want, I don't, they don't know if they want to necessarily cross that barrier yet, where they
mm,
incorporate artificial intelligence when it comes to the mind. in the mental health space. So it's unique.
Well, so let me clarify a little bit. So
Sure.
AI at its core will spit out something. It just depends on the prompt and how you prompt it to respond to whatever it is that you're asking. No matter what it spits out, you're going to have to put your own personal touch on it. So it doesn't sound like AI, because anyone who uses AI every day can spot an AI generated response in a second, like in a fraction of a second. So you have to still put your own personal spin on it, your own language, your own, the way you speak should come through in your messaging. And AI is not going to do that. So it'll get the foundation and it'll do most of the body, but you still need to come in and finalize it all. So it actually does look and feel like you as a person and not a computer generated response.
Absolutely. So what y'all don't know is Miss Hastings is actually an AI bot. This whole podcast has been produced by artificial intelligence. No, I'm just kidding. This is real deal. She actually looks that good, y'all. That's incredible. Absolutely incredible.
You're funny.
This is
Thank
our
you.
bonus round. So we have to go to a commercial break and we got to pay some bills, y'all, and get our sponsors involved. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. Stay with us. We are going to a quick commercial break. Be right back.
Elevate your wardrobe with a custom-tailored suit jackets from Alex Rose. Experience the luxury of bespoke fashion, where every detail is crafted to perfection. A tailored suit jackets from Alex Rose is more than just clothing. It's a statement of sophistication and individuality. Why choose Alex Rose? 1. Perfect fit. Tailored to your exact measurements, ensuring unmatched comfort and style. 2. Premium quality. Only the finest fabrics are used, offering durability and a luxurious feel. 3. Personalised service. Enjoy a consultation with expert tailors who understand your preferences and style. 4. Unique design. Stand out with a suit that is uniquely yours, designed to reflect your personality and taste. 5. Long-term investment. A well-crafted suit is a timeless addition to your wardrobe, perfect for any occasion. Discover the confidence and elegance that comes with a custom-tailored suit jackets from Alex Rose. Visit Alex Rose to start your bespoke journey today. Happy suiting up. alexrose.uk.
Hey guys, this is your boy Marcus Norman of Gentleman Style Podcast Show. And we are here in Patrick Henry Mall, Newport News, Virginia. We're actually here for something unique just inside. Something new, brand new that we want to explore together. You guys ready? All right, here we go. Hey boss. Heard you were an athlete, man. See you at the mall every day. We are at Patrick Henry Mall, living up, and we are talking about CBD. But first off, the normal thing that we all deal with is joint pain, back pain, suffer from everything.
Neck pain too.
Neck pain? You got some neck pain?
All the time, man. I'm getting up in age, you know what I'm saying? We're not young no more.
I'm with you. I'm totally with you. Bruh, CBD helps with the exact same thing. Neck pain, back pain, joint pain, all the pains, everywhere pain, right? And so that's what CBD does. That's what we're here to help you and me do. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you.
Thank you for your time.
Absolutely.
All right.
CBD is one of the most powerful cannabinoids because all it's focused on is the health and wellness. We're talking helping people with anxiety, depression, insomnia, sleep deprivation, all provided. CBD works with the natural mechanics of your body without the crazy side effects of Western medicine. So these products are here to actually align your body and get it back right so we can actually have a better quality of life. And that's what CBD does. We are back to the Gentleman Style Podcast Show. And we have the incredible, amazing, super fragilistic, espialidocious Miss Renee Hastings on the Gentleman Style Podcast Show. And she is helping us debunk some myths, some beliefs, and elevating our mindsets, our business to the next level through the utilization of her concierge service. 5-star. I'm rating it 5-star. 5-star service and helping us connect with virtual assistants. Miss Hastings, you touched on earlier that there's a lot going on with the CEO. You're a CEO. You're a CEO. So there's many different things on a CEO's plate. How does a virtual assistant, or how do you help your clients identify what they should delegate, what they should hold on to, and what they should keep on their plate when choosing and hiring their first virtual assistants? Can you speak to that, please?
Yes, absolutely. So as a business owner, as a CEO of a corporation, there are things that there are these quadrants. I forget the name of the quadrants, but there's important and urgent, and unimportant and urgent, unimportant and not urgent, and urgent and not important. I don't know. I'm getting them mixed up. But anywho,
You're good.
within that quadrant, the things that are in the top left quadrant are urgent and important. Those are the things, most of those things are things that the CEO should probably be focusing on. Those other things that are in any of those other quadrants are things that your virtual assistant can take over, or you can delegate to your virtual assistant. So there are some people delegate things like their legal services or their accounting services, or their housekeeping services. So delegating work shouldn't be an issue for any executive, because everyone needs help doing something. No one can do everything all the time. And when you identify those things that are making money for you, those are the things that you need to focus on. If you are indulging in any non-revenue generating activity, you should not be doing that. You need to take that off your plate and give it to your virtual assistant for them to do.
Big facts.
So I think that's it in a nutshell.
Big facts. Big facts. Staying in the same breath, do you have any stories to share about a client transformation? Because again, that's hard. That's not easy to do. So can you share any success stories without, and you're a professional, without disclosing client information, but just share a story of what one of your clients had a hard time delegating, and then what was the positive outcome when they did delegate to their virtual assistant?
Yes. One of the stories I love to share is the story of, I'll call her Katie. And Katie was or is a solopreneur, and she owns a company that does IT services in a particular industry. And it's very specialized. And so she had been doing all of the marketing for her business, all of the hiring of the contractors for her business, making sure all the projects were executed, according to the plan, having all the meetings with them, scheduling all the meetings, making sure they've completed their timesheets correctly, making sure they submitted their timesheets, and then processing all the payroll for them. And she was wearing all the hats. And when I reached out to her, to let her know, that because we had our paths had crossed in the past. And so we knew each other. And so I reminded her, I was like, hey, it's been a long time. I just wanted to remind you I'm doing this business, and, let me know if I can help you. And so she reached out and she goes, you know what? You just might be able to help me. And so she told me exactly what it was that she wanted to do first. And the first thing she wanted to take off of her plate was payroll. And she did not want to have to chase her people down for their timesheets. She didn't want to have to chase her people down for getting them into a system, which I think at that time was an Excel spreadsheet, to track their hours against the client's contract.
Jesus.
Which yeah, it was very manual, the process that she had. And so once we started working together and we took that over from her and we automated her timekeeping system and we automated her process for her, I remember that first payroll, all she had to do was click a button, one button, and payroll was run, and she didn't touch a single timesheet. She didn't touch a single spreadsheet, nothing. We did it all for her. And when she called me, she said, Renee, and she had tears in her eyes. She said, Renee, I can't believe I've been doing everything by myself for so long. This was so amazing to not have to do this, to feel this relief and no stress and no pressure of getting this done. All I had to do was click a button and it was done. And so From there, she's been our biggest advocate and ambassador of the benefit of having a virtual assistant in your life, because now, not that was the first thing. There have been many, many other things that she's asked us to do since then. And now she will quickly and easily say, I have this idea in my head. This is what I'm thinking. Figure it out and show me what you got. And we come back to her with what we create for her. And she said, that's exactly what I was looking for. I'm so glad you're able to help me get this stuff out of my head and actually onto a piece of paper or into a presentation. Because that's the kind of partnership and relationship that we develop with our clients as we are working with them. We get to know them so well. And we bring with us our frames of reference from not just them as a client, but all of our other clients and the things that we see that are working for them. And we can say, hey, this could work for Katie too. And so it's a wonderful opportunity for companies to just explore, just test the water, put a toe in the water,
Yeah.
try it out and see how their life can be changed once they bring on a virtual assistant and they're able to scale so much easier.
Now Katie is the delegation queen. That's
Yes.
she can't delegate fast enough.
Exactly. Exactly. We love it.
Get stuff off her plate. Shout out to Katie. Shout out to Katie. We love you. That's a huge win. That's a huge win. And so your virtual assistants, they're doing accounting and bookkeeping. They're doing finance. They're doing money stuff. Because as soon as you said money, I was like, turn over the money, which we established earlier, trust, right? That has to go hand in hand. So your virtual assistants are actually doing the running down of the staff, but the finances too?
Yes, absolutely. So when I started the business, I remember I said to do what I knew how to do. So that's why what I started doing, how the business was founded, was primarily providing virtual administrative support, which typically looked like email management, calendar management, travel arrangements, expense reports, presentations, preparing for board meetings, taking minutes, all of those administrative assistant type things, or executive assistant type things. As our business has grown, we now also offer social media management and engagement, as well as bookkeeping services where we can help get the numbers into the system that they need to be in to make things easier for your bookkeeper or for your accountant, which is usually less expensive on our side to have us do than to have your CPA do. So we can get everything ready for you. So all you have to do is ship over some PDF spreadsheets or documents because it's already been put into the system for you.
Love it. Love it. I feel like, go ahead.
I was going to say too, because as we're talking about numbers, the other thing that we do with numbers, so one of our clients is a franchise, fast food franchise. And some of the operators, the owner operators, have us track their M&R, maintenance and repairs, because sometimes if a piece of equipment is having to be repaired too many times, it might just make more sense for them to just replace it, right? And so, but they don't know how many times the machine has been repaired if they don't have the proper systems in place or the proper tracking. So we set that up for them so that they can see at a glance, this machine has been repaired 10 times in the last 2 weeks. You might want to think about getting another.
Ooh, that's necessary. That's good. I could see that big scale, like the restaurant industry, but I could also see that for a small startup industry like landscaping, right? How many times has my big zero turn lawnmower broken down? Maybe I should stop fixing and putting bandages on this thing and get a whole new one. And so seeing that on a spreadsheet or a pie chart or a graph, I can say, okay, this machine, we have 3 of these. This one is near the end of its life cycle. I need to go ahead and just spend the money and replace it versus keep putting bandages on it. So that's huge.
Absolutely.
That's huge projecting. What she's talking about, y'all, is projecting. You're projecting out future costs of your business. They haven't necessarily occurred. You're using the trends of the past to predict the outcome, the likelihood. This is what insurance does, right? The likelihood of a breakdown. The older your car is, the insurance premium goes up, right?
Mhm.
So
Right.
they're just cost projecting out. So that's huge. Any tax virtual assistants yet? You got taxes? Anybody doing my book?
No. We can help your CPA. We can get all the numbers ready for them. We can collect all your receipts, make sure there are categories in the right buckets and that sort of thing. But the actual tax part, no, sorry.
Ah, that's fine.
That's not
That's
us.
fine. That is diving deep. I want you to break another stigma here. Is a virtual assistant just for the small business, or should big businesses, big companies consider hiring virtual assistants?
Big companies, medium-sized companies, small companies, solopreneurs. Everybody needs a virtual assistant. And the way companies have leveraged virtual assistants is that there used to be a time when every president or every vice president had their own administrative assistant. Those days are gone by the wayside. But the work still needs to be done because you don't want your presidents and vice presidents doing expense reports. That's not what you pay them to do. So you you delegate that to a virtual assistant. So a virtual assistant can come in and support your entire departments, so that you still get that administrative support without all the overhead and expense of hiring a full-time person.
Absolutely. Any opportunities? What about HIPAA compliant virtual assistants? I have a lot of PPI. I deal with medical records. Any HIPAA compliant virtual assistants for those in the medical space?
So what we do, if there's a HIPAA certification that is required, we currently don't have them on our team. We have a team of about 40 virtual assistants at this time. And that team is constantly growing. And a lot of them have backgrounds in HR, benefits, administration, different areas of expertise. And so in that particular space for medical, if there's something required, that a certification or something that's required, we don't currently have that. However, we can do all of the other things that surround that, the supporting services of those things. Does that make sense?
Absolutely does. What about I'm gonna tee you up here. How many virtual assistants do you have working and organizing for you? Because one of them reached out to me for this interview. How many virtual assistants do you have working for you as a CEO of your company?
As a CEO of my company, I have 3
Makes
virtual
sense.
assistants. I do. One manages my podcast. I have a show that it drops every week. All I do is show up and talk, and I love it like that.
Love it.
There's a lot of work that goes into preparing for the show, finding the guests, making sure the guests are prepared, making us all look good on camera, producing the show, all of the things, and then repurposing all the content, providing swipe copy and clips for promoting. I do nothing.
Love it.
I show up and I talk, and they do all the rest, and they are amazing. Our podcast production team is fantastic. So I have a virtual assistant that does that. I have one that manages my calendar and my schedule. I also have a sales team that I work with, and so I do personally oversee them. But then the other one who finds me guesting opportunities, that's different from our producer.
Absolutely. So I want to, you mentioned many different segments, many different avenues that your company helps, that your agency helps, that you have professionals in the virtual assistant space to help with a business. Do you have like a one-stop shop kind of thing? And I guess you can have 3 virtual assistants, or do you have virtual assistants who can meet several needs, or 2 different needs, or 3 different needs, and I can just deal with that one virtual assistant? Do you have anything like that?
We do have that. With all of our team members are very experienced, who have been executive assistants to the C-suite for many, many years. And so they are very high-level virtual assistants. And so there isn't a whole lot that they can't do. However, every now and then something comes up where a client may ask them to do something that they can do, but not as well as someone else on the team. So the way it works is that your person would reach out to one of our other team members, one of their colleagues on the team, and say, hey, my client needs this graphic design for this social media post. Can you do this for me? and they will work with our team member to get that done and then bring it back to you, because so that you're only dealing with one person, even though that other person on the team did the work.
I
Does
love
that make
that.
sense?
That makes absolute sense. I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. The delegation of the delegation. I love that. All the CEO cares about is the finished product. I don't care who does it.
Right, exactly. And then we want to be that one-stop shop for you. And we know how important that your person is. So we love being able to assign you to your one person that you can call on, you can talk to, who knows you the best. And that person then reaches out to their resources on our team to say, look, I need this. This is not my gift, skill, or talent. I know that this is yours. Can you help me? And then they work together and they get you what you need.
The Grand Poobah. I told y'all, coming to the Gentleman Style Podcast stage, the Grand Poobah, the mother of virtual assistants. She's helping us change the game and helping us take our business to the next level. Mr. Renee, I want to focus on you for a second. What has been your proudest moment as a CEO? What is just something that you'll never forget for as long as you live? For as long as you live. I'll leave it right there.
Wow. That is big. So for 2025, we had a very aggressive strategic growth plan, and it terrified me. And I don't know if you've heard this saying that if your goals if your goals don't make you shudder or whatever, then they're not big enough.
Facts.
So
True.
This was that. And so the day came for us to execute on one of the projects that we had. And literally the day it was supposed to happen, I'm a woman of faith, and I pray a lot. I like pray all day. And I was praying and I was like, Lord, I don't know how we gonna do this. I just don't know how. And I was like literally in tears, like scared to death. But I knew it's what I was supposed to do. I knew it's where this company was supposed to go. And so he just gave me his peace, his joy, and we had fun, and we did what we were supposed to do. And it was a tremendous success. And that is one day I will never forget in my whole entire life of this business.
Did it occur? Did the scaling up? Okay.
Yes, absolutely. 100%. It did.
Laura! I love it.
Yes, it worked. It was scary as all get out, but it worked. Yes, it did.
So your industry, I feel, is I don't want to say male dominated industry, but I'll say masculine. I don't want to put a gender behind it, but I think it's a masculine dominated industry. What is something you've had to overcome that you weren't expecting when you first got started that really kind of just stuck out about you? Because this is also an entrepreneur show. So entrepreneurs watch this, and the man, the young boy, the young girl who's thinking about getting started, right? I want them to hear from someone who's put feet in the trenches and is now enjoying those proud moments, but you didn't get there overnight. And so can you share something that caught you off guard that you weren't expecting that was difficult to get over?
There were a couple things. So the first thing that I realized was so critically important was my community, who I hung around with, who I listened to, and who I allowed to speak into me. The people I surrounded myself with truly encouraged me, supported me, believed in me, reminded me who I am, reminded me of all I've accomplished, all the things that had been done, and continue to speak life and speak words of positivity and affirmation into me. So my community and who I surrounded myself with was something I didn't realize would be so critically necessary in the building of this business. The other thing that caught me off guard was success. When we started to become successful and the business kept growing and the team kept growing and the clients kept coming and all of the blessings kept coming, it scared me to no end. It was scary. And I had to really go to the Lord because like I said, I'm a woman of faith. I'm like, Father, what is this all about? Why do I not feel like I'm worthy to receive all this goodness that you are giving to me? And so I had to do some serious introspection, and because it got revealed that I have some kind of issue. Something was wrong with me. I had to go to my girls in my small group, my Bible study, and I was like, y'all pray for me because something is seriously wrong with me. And it was an awakening and a realization that I had to come to when I started to see myself as worthy of being the recipient of being blessed. So.
I thank you for saying that and being so forthcoming with that. I think that's not shared enough. So thank you for being the first on my show to say that. Because it reminds me of a book. Leaders are readers. And I remember reading the biography, I think it's J.P. Morgan and that family. And one of the things he talks about in his biography is when he was passing down succession, and he was passing down his, not just money, his wealth, but the influence that came with that. His son almost died because it can be overwhelming.
Yeah.
And he had to, when and I remember the specific story, he gave a fraction, like not even the full inheritance. He gave like 10% of his inheritance to his son, of his company, of his organization, of his legacy, and of the success and influence he had through his company. And it crippled his son to the fact where he had to come back and take the reins back and move his son abroad to recover, medically recover.
Wow.
And so when you speak about, you had to take a step back and you had to get with your girlfriends, you had to reground yourself.
Yeah.
That is not said enough. Success at the wrong time can be crippling.
Yes.
It can really mess you up. And so people who chase it and people who run after it, be careful what you wish for. Here's a CEO killing the game, and she's telling you to your face, for you future entrepreneurs, be careful.
Yes.
Because that great idea. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Be careful and recognize that any of the trials that come, that you have to go through, you can't skip them. You can't skip the hard times. You can't try to avoid the hard times. You can't try to avoid the hard conversations, because those are going to be necessary to get you to the next level.
Absolutely. Spilling the tea on the Gentleman Style Podcast Show. This is what we are all about. Miss Renee, how can people find you? How can people connect with you? This is an epic conversation. One of my favorite conversations. How can people find you? How can people get on board? Because the train has left the station and you are killing it. And that's great. But how can others connect with you? How can people set up a consultation, book an appointment, get with you?
Absolutely. Go to our website. That is where I love to meet people. There is a button that says learn more. Feel free to reach out there. The website is www.executivehelpnow.org. We are not a nonprofit. I always have to say that, even though it's .org. .com was taken. There's a whole nother story for another day. But we're also on all the socials on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube. I have my podcast on YouTube, Renee Speaks, where we also share entrepreneurial tips and tricks and resources. And then if someone wants to know if they're ready for a VA, they can text the letters VANOW, VA now, to 1-866-943-3591 and get an incredible resource to help them navigate where they currently are. And we'd love to help them through it.
Look at that. You guys are getting nuggets, gem this whole episode. Love it, love it, love it. Miss Hastings, I want to say this to you publicly. Never give up. Don't ever quit. We need you. We need what you're doing. We need you are changing the world. One podcast, one virtual assistant, one household, one entrepreneur at a time. So thank you for what you do. Don't ever quit.
Thank you. I won't.
Love it, love it, love it. And that's how we're going to end the show, y'all. We got to let this incredible woman go. She had many more lives to change, many more companies to 10x, and many more people, women, to impact. Like we end every show. Take care of your friends, take care of your family, and always, always take care of business. This is Marcus, your favorite gentleman, and the incredible Miss Renee Hastings signing off. Love you guys. Bye.